It's hot as hell up in this joint, and we're going to be talking about a heat score. And did it deliver? We're going to find out all about Nation Extreme Wrestling's latest available show on their YouTube channel as the main topic here tonight on your hopefully favorite news show, Ring Respect Radio. Yes, we're talking indie wrestling, and boom, just like that, it's Thursday night, so get ready to party with us. We are the Video Bros. My name is Bobby Munson, the man sat beside me. He's the man with the angelic voice. He's Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday. How you doing, brother?
Woo, Thursday again, Munson. It is scorching and humid outside. I'm a little brain dead from working in the heat all day, but I'm here on Ring Respect Radio on a Thursday night, exactly where I want to be and exactly doing what I want to do with you, Munson. We get to talk wrestling and anything we really feel like about at this time. Hey, what about that World Cup final, Munson? What did you think of the game? I watched it.
You did watch it. Okay. Well, yeah, we can talk about
Yeah,
that for a
yeah.
second. We'll say hello to Zach, who's in the chat first and foremost. Thank you, Zach, for being here. The World Cup final, I thought it was kind of boring, to be honest with you. I was rooting for Spain. I'm glad Spain won in the end. I think Argentina deserves to be severely penalized and investigated by I feel like an outside source outside of FIFA themselves, because I feel like FIFA also needs to be investigated at this point for having carried Argentina to the World Cup final in the first place. I think that the only team that Argentina truly beat in the World Cup was England. Sad to say, because I was rooting for England, but that was the only team they truly beat. Everything else was done by nefarious means throughout. Bending the rules, using referees to your assistance, all of it was done in Argentina's favor. They are a very corrupt bunch of players, and if you go back and watch carefully, a lot of the times they were signaling to the referee to try to get players carded for no good reason at all. Meanwhile, they were performing like some of the dirtiest individuals I've ever seen in the game. Spain played nice. Spain was good. I liked that portion of it, but yeah, it was a little bit too just boring. It was so one-sided in Spain's favor, yet no goals to back it up either. So it kind of just it dragged on more than it should. And then meanwhile, the game the previous day between England and France for third and fourth place ends up with a 6-4 game. Like, who would have thought, right? Like, that was the final I was hoping for, because I thought it would be interesting. And then it ends up being the third and fourth place game. Turns out to be quite the banger in terms of that. Quick hello to Bass, who's in the house here tonight. Pop Smokes, happy Thursday, Kings. He says, happy Thursday back at you. Glad to have you here. And we got Angie23 up in the house. Hello, are you both excited for Spider-Man brand new day movie? I mean, I like me the Spider-Man movie, so yeah, I'd say I'm excited for it. Of course, our good friends here on the channel, Ed, Andre, and Peggy, will be giving their review of Spider-Man brand new day on Sunday, August the 2nd, or whichever the Sunday is after the release of the movie. You're going to want to check out the channel. The Marvel Talk team are going to be doing all their full review of Spider-Man brand new day here. And you can also go check it out. The episodes 4 through 6 of X-Men 97 were just reviewed by Ed and Andre right before this show. So after our show, stick around on the channel, go back and check that out, check out what they had to say. But Bob Smokes, it was a very interesting end to that World Cup. Not what it should have been, but at the same time, I'm just glad that Spain got their rewards for it in the end. They were the deserving champions, and glad they got it. So what were your thoughts? I mean, I don't know how much footy you've watched before or anything, or how many World Cups you've watched, but curious to get your thoughts.
Well, I played a lot when I was young. I've never really watched that much on TV. The pro game is not something I really watch, but every 4 years I'll watch the World Cup final. If I'm going to watch one game, that's the one to watch. So I watched on Sunday, and it was interesting because Spain was pressing the entire game. So much of the game, the ball was in Argentina's end, with Spain trying to get something going, offensively. And as a sports fan, I just kind of had that creeping feeling like they're getting so many shots, they're getting so many opportunities, but you always have that feeling like Argentina's going to get control of the ball and go down and score. And in a 0-0 game like that can be such a huge goal. But then Spain puts the ball in the net. That one's disallowed. They put it in the net again. That one's disallowed. And then finally, the refs, it goes into extra time. And you know that Spain was on the referee's side a little bit there because they were the ones pushing the game. They were not hanging back defensively like Argentina was. They were trying to get that goal, and eventually they did get it. But one of the standouts players in that game for me was the goalie for Argentina because did that guy make some huge saves throughout that game, and it's always sad to see a player have the game of their career possibly, but still lose. But that game could have been 4-0 Spain easily, if not for a great play of the Argentinian tender.
Yeah, Emi Martinez, Aston Villa goalkeeper in the English Premier League. I believe he's 29, 30 years old, in that range, something like that. So kind of, maybe a little bit older than that. He's somewhere in those prime years or whatever. So he's really come into his own. And he is class. I mean, he wasn't the one causing any of the problems on the field. The outfield players, on the other hand, were just. It's hard to watch as a fan of the sport when people disgrace it like Argentina did throughout this tournament. And I just feel like I would have anybody but them in the final. I would have been fine. Like had Norway beat England and then turn around and beat Argentina to get to the final, I would have been rooting for Norway to take it at that point too, just because them knocking Argentina out would have been fantastic. Like, I don't know. Argentina, there's a lot of things. And I know the referee penalized for the second yellow card in that game, giving a red to Enzo there. Like, a lot of people going back saying, well, that wasn't a red card offense. Yeah, but it was definitely a yellow card offense. The guy was already won and had about 18 warnings throughout the entire match from the referee. Like, eventually, the referee can only turn a blind eye to it so many times before he has to go, okay, I have no choice or else I'm going to look like a total chump if I don't get this guy off the pitch.
Well, that's kind of like Jorge in PPW, hey, just handing out the cards at his own discretion, really just whipping them out and showing them whenever he feels like it.
Jorge, that jerk, that greasy jerk. You saw that at the last show, Pop Smokes. That guy rubbing that fucking yellow card in my face like he's cock of the walk. Well, I mean, where's Jorge now? Hey, I mean, what's he up to now? Has he convinced some other company to hire him? Because he sure as hell ain't working in PPW no more. Is him and his little buddy Levi Knight got their asses booted out the door last time. In fact, if you've obviously seen the poster for our upcoming show, right? I mean, I may as well mention it. PPW is going on a power trip on Saturday, August the 29th, Pop Spokes. And if you've seen that poster, there's actually a funny-ass picture of Levi Knight hiding behind a door, peeking his head in a little bit. I thought, great work by the poster guy on that one. I thought that was really good. Mangler's in the house here on a Thursday night. Thank you for being here, Mangler. Appreciate you being here every Thursday night. And our good friend Blair for the Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast and one of the voices of Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. Fellas, hell of a show last Friday for WPW. Very hyped for you. Yes, I love it. Yes. I heard great things about it, Blair. Can't wait. And I know you guys pumped those out quickly, so very excited. We will definitely be covering that as soon as possible here on the channel. But yeah, as always, WPW kicking ass. PPW is going to be kicking that ass on August 29th. That is the go-home show before the big one, Papa Smokes, right before the Ring of Horrors. This is it. This is what it all comes down to. This is where it's all going to unfold and unpackage and prep people for our biggest show. And this year is the 5th annual Ring of Horrors as well, too. So you know we're going big. You know it's going to be worth the time. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, what are you waiting for? Secure them today. Reach out to PPW online right now to make sure you get your tickets, just like Bass does, just like Mangler does every time. And if he lived here in Saskatchewan and one day he'll make the trip down, just like our buddy Blair would do as well, too. Bob Smokes, if you can't tell, I'm pretty damn excited for August 29th.
Oh, I'm super excited, Munson. And where does the time go? Fifth Ring of Horrors in a row. Man, it seems like we just started this thing, Munson. It seems like the 2019 all over again, and just looking forward to the big Halloween show. Looking forward to it again this year, but it is the 5th annual one. So excited for that. But fans, you know what that means. Munson just told you it's the go home show before that. We all know what that means. That means stuff is going to happen at that show. There's the lineup and the card will be tremendously formed by the August 29th show. So get your tickets now, get your seats, get your White Claws and your beers, and get ready for this show because it's going to be something special. And then just wait for Ring of Horrors. Boy, we'll be all over that one.
I mean, last show we saw Jacob Creed win the PPW championship. We saw all sorts of calamity happen at the end of that matchup. There's things to be answered at this next show already. And that's not to say how many things that are going to unfold before the end of that night leading up to that big show. You know, we've got big plans. You know, it's going to be a spectacle, and you know, the nation is going to have the time of their lives. And that show, I can tell you, Pops folks, it is exactly 1 week, one Saturday before Halloween is the PPW Ring of Horrors. So you get it's like double Halloween for wrestling fans. You get the Ring of Horrors on Saturday, and 7 days later, you get Halloween on a Saturday. How much more cool can 2026 get right now?
Well, that first Saturday can be like your dress rehearsal for Halloween. You can try the costume out. You can make that first run with your costume and then polish it up before Halloween night, whatever. But get wild and come out to the Ring of Horrors and wear a costume, and preferably a wrestling-themed costume, but not necessarily any kind of costume you want. But Munson, we've seen some hilarious and excellent wrestling-based costumes in the crowd. I always admire the people that put in that creativity and effort and make a cool costume for Halloween. Really quite something.
Hands down, my favorite, though, has to be the guy that comes dressed as Bucky McGraw every single year. He nails it perfectly. And last year, he just so happened to be on the side of the ramp when Bucky was going back up the ramp and doing his pose, and he happened to get right in that camera shot at the exact same time. And it was perfect. What a moment that was. That guy, A+ for going forth with that costume.
Oh, it looked like the two Spider-Men pointing at each other, like which one's which, kind of. Yeah, that was a good moment.
Yeah, absolute classic. So you don't want to miss the Ring of Horrors. You don't want to miss Power Trip coming up on August the 29th. And you're not going to want to miss what we got coming up on the YouTube channel for Prairie Pro Wrestling either. We got some big matchups coming up, including Jacob Creed, Cannonball Kelly this coming Saturday from the Resurrection Show. And then next Saturday, and for those that were there in person, you get to see the whole calamity of the Michael Allen Richard Clark versus Riley Cruz championship matchup. And for those who haven't seen it, that weren't there live, buckle up because it is going to be an interesting night. That's all coming up on the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. Of course, Prairie Pro Wrestling Live August 29th. And now we move on to our main topic of the evening, Papa Smokes, talking about our friends over in Vancouver, Nation Extreme Wrestling out of Vancouver, and their show Heat Score, which, I mean, it rings so perfectly. It's hot as hell outside. It's heating up every single day. We have no reprieve from it. So why not talk about a show called Heat Score that is now available over at the NEW Nation Extreme Wrestling's YouTube channel. Papa Smokes, why don't you tell people about beautiful British Columbia, a little bit more about Vancouver and where this one took place?
Absolutely. You know, I think we've covered one of NEW's cards some years back on this podcast, didn't we, Munson? But let's do a little refresher.
Early this year, actually, I think we did one, or late last year. It wasn't okay. too long ago.
Yeah. We have done it before, but for all the listeners, let's just set the table a little bit here. British Columbia is the furthest west province in Canada. It's in the Pacific Northwest between the Rocky Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. It is Canada's third most populous province with 5.68 million people. Its capital is Victoria, which is on Victoria Island. But the largest city is Vancouver, just across the strait on the mainland. 2.6 million people living there, a high population density. Vancouver is one of the most ethnically and linguistically diverse cities in Canada. Lots of different kinds of people living there. The city grew from 1867 from a tavern owned by Gassy Jack, What a name that is, Munson. Hey, how do you get that nickname? I don't really want to think about it too much. And the city was originally known as Gastown. And if you go to Vancouver now, there is still the original section, the core of the city is known as Gastown. It is a vital seaport in Canada, obviously right on the Pacific Ocean there. It's huge for forestry and tourism due to its natural beauty. And Munson, I don't know if we've talked about Vancouver before, but I'm assuming you've been there. A lot of Canadians have. It's a very popular destination, a tourist spot. Its natural beauty is no joke. And anyone that's been up in the Pacific Northwest, including Washington State, Oregon, Northern California, you know that this is just one of the most beautiful areas in Canada. Lots of primordial boreal forests, lots of, it's almost like jungle down there. It's so moist. And in particular in Vancouver, the UBC or University of British Columbia campus has some natural areas set aside which are preserved from development and building and such. There are some areas on that campus and on that coastline there that are absolutely gorgeous because they're untouched by human hands. Some of the old growth forest, giant tree trunks that 15 people can hold hands to get all the way around it, that sort of thing. Ferns, moss, all kinds of interesting flora and fauna there. The sea life is very interesting. Lots of whales, orca whales, seals, sea lions, all kinds of stuff. You take that ferry from Vancouver over to the island to Victoria, you will see all kinds of interesting sea life there and everything. I love going out to Vancouver. It's a fascinating city. It's very large and fast moving for a prairie boy like myself, but so much to see, so much opportunity, so much good beer and good sushi out there, Munson. I know you
Oh,
like
yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Restaurants are great. Nightlife is great. Huge booming music scene. And as we're going to see, a burgeoning uh, professional wrestling scene. Now, professional wrestling hasn't been as big as it has been in the boom days. Now, I'm going to say the boom days of the 70s and 80s. If you look back to our episode of Trip Through the Territories that talks about all-star wrestling in the Vancouver promotion from that time, they had a national TV deal back in the days, even before cable. But that was really a strong time. It hasn't been as strong since the 90s and 2000s. It's kind of floundered a little bit. Just like some of the other areas of the Pacific Northwest, it's not that huge. And the COVID restrictions of 2020 and 2021 were very strict in Canada. No groups of people were allowed over a certain amount. You really couldn't have concerts, comedy, drama, dance, pro wrestling, anything like that for a long time. But Rob Fly and Chris Perry threw a show at a car dealership in Richmond, which is one of the neighborhoods of Vancouver, which did very well. So that was the start of NEW. Since then, they've run shows at the Commodore Ballroom, the Nat Bailey Stadium, Vancouver Convention Center, Harbor Convention Center, and Wise Hall, which is where we're going to be for tonight's show. But all of these are fairly well-known venues in Vancouver. So the boys doing very good at that, starting up new wrestling roughly around the same time our promotion started, just after COVID, ours starting just before the lockdowns. They've been booking wrestlers from all over the Pacific Northwest and other places, and then bringing up new talent from the famous Lionsgate Dojo, which you hear a lot about in Western Canadian wrestling. A very strong training school. We're going to see Nicole Matthews, one of the trainers there, and
And Papa Smokes drops out for a temporary bit of time, just as he was getting on a roll there, talking about the the story of Nation Extreme Wrestling and how they got started. Papa Smokes will be back in a short moment. I'm sure it's just a quick little dropout, quick little internet glitch as he is now backstage and back on the screen. He'll be loading in. There he is. There's the man. And we'll go right back to you, Papa Smokes. Welcome back to the fold.
Always does that right when I'm cooking, Munson, right when I'm stirring up my sauce. But oh well, we'll deal with it. Yeah, and to talk about Wise Hall, this venue in Vancouver, BC, the name Wise Hall is an acronym for Welsh, Irish, Scottish, and English. It started as a social club back in the 1920s. It was initially a kindergarten and a bowling alley, kind of an interesting mix of activities to have in the same building. It has also hosted political, cultural, and artistic events. Today it is known as a non-profit music venue, but hosts all kinds of activities. Capacity approximately 250 people. So not huge, but a kind of a community center type venue like we're used to for PPW here in Saskatoon. Does the trick for NEW, no problem. I thought it looked pretty nice in this video for this card of NEW wrestling. Did you think it looked nice, Munson?
Yeah, I like the setup. I think the room is really great. The fact that they can have it kind of lit the way it is gives a nice presentation. I felt too like with the stage up at the top, it kind of reminded me of the setup that we had over at the Sutherland Hall that we used to do HIW in prior to moving over to where we're at now. We still have the stage at the top of the ramp as well too, but that one felt like it was a little bit more lower down kind of thing where you could have somebody on that part and still had a backstage area separated from the stage itself where we utilize the full stage for Prairie Pro Wrestling. I like that. It's nice to have that they can have live commentary out there being done. They're present on the stage as well too, watching in a live capacity, and their view from there has got to be perfect for being able to watch and call the matchup. So yeah, I like how this is set up. I like the style that they do, and I also got to say I like the edits that they do on their videos. They don't, we do run where we show the full entrances, everything like that. They cut to the point for their YouTube channel. They really kind of make it so that it's more compact. So for those wrestling fans looking to, trim out all the excess stuff, I mean, they do get right down to the nitty gritty and get you to the wrestling matches.
For sure. And they just show enough of the entrance to put a chyron which says each wrestler's name. It's the short and quick introduction and then right into the match. So if you're timing the matches like I like to, it's much easier because you don't have to time the whole segment. It's basically the in-ring match.
Yeah. So you pretty much get right down to it, and right down to it, we shall, Pop Smokes. Let's talk about the first match on Heat Score. It is the NEW Tag Team Championships on the line as West Coast Heavies. That's the team of Todd Quality and Shawn Murphy taking on the Wise Men, Tony Baroni and Billy Suede. You know what? This was good tag team wrestling here from both these two teams. Not really, I want to say maybe one of these teams was on the last card that we reviewed, but it wasn't fresh enough in my memory for me to truly remember. But I did enjoy getting a tag team matchup of this caliber right off the hop here. They did a great job of having the match controlled one way to build into the hot tag, which is always going to get the crowd psyched up, which they do well in this one too. They end up doing a ref bump here when the ref gets taken out by Shawn Murphy, who pulls the ref in towards one of the actual moves in the fight. The Heavies then use the belts to take out Baroni, and we ended up with new tag team champions, the West Coast Heavies. Again, placement on the card was right for this matchup. It did a good job getting everybody into it. There wasn't anything too crazy or over the top because we will have matches that spill to the floor more and go for the higher spots. This was a tag team matchup, and it was at a good pace to really pump up the crowd. Great placement on the card, and honestly, I'm going to say probably one of my more favorite matches on this card, actually. I enjoyed this one as a top quality match.
Yeah, I thought so too. I like where this was on the card, just like you did. It worked out nicely as a first match, gives the fans some excitement with a title change and everything, but leaves lots left for this card for the viewers to watch later on. Um, yeah, nothing too fancy about this. The faces took control over the first few minutes. The West Coast Heavies were big guys. They look like wrestlers. They've got good physiques. They come out looking very strong. Their manager distracts the referee, allowing the Heavies to take over. They isolate Baroni for a number of minutes using double teams. Um, Eventually, Baroni gets the hot tag, and Billy Suede gets in there on fire, works the heels. But one thing you noticed is that the West Coast Heavies must be a well-entrenched team in Vancouver and in NEW wrestling because the fans liked them too. They were also cheering for the heels to get some success in this match. So they're obviously longtime favorites in this town. There was a spot where they fought outside the ring. The West Coast Heavies slowly got into position to allow the faces to run and do body presses from the ring. The ref takes that bump, can't count the pin for the wise men, so the Heavies hit Baroni with the belt, hit him with the pedigree. 1, 2, 3, we got new tag team champions, and this card is off and running. Nothing fancy about this match. Good, solid tag team match. That's what you want out of your first match. The fans get invested. The fans are interested to see more.
Yeah, you bet. And it was a great way to warm things up. But up next, we had Cole Rivera taking on Nicole Matthews, and this one quite an interesting matchup. I got to say, singles action here, intergender wrestling. Nicole Matthews, who you mentioned about being a trainer there for NEW, is been along in this industry for quite some time. Very well respected, great at what she does. Does a lot of submissions throughout this matchup. There was a lot of great wrestling action in this match between these two. Cole gets some good stuff in as well too. And one thing I got to give credit to is there was one point in this matchup where Nicole goes to do a surfboard stretch onto Cole, and it kind of slips. The move itself kind of slips, and you see it so many times, especially not just indie wrestling. It happens with the big guys all the time, where because some of these wrestlers don't know how to react to the situation sometimes because they get it in their head that you got to follow through with every move that you thought of or planned out, and you want to get that in. But in this case, instead of Nicole Matthews going right back in to try to pull back and do another surfboard stretch, Cole got right into the action and started a fight at that point in time, like getting back into it because it was an opportunity for him to bounce back. Again, if that was the plan, if they planned it to look like that, great job in executing it. If it wasn't planned, great job at picking up the ball and rolling with what you've got. Because that's the thing about a fight. A fight is never without an imperfection in it kind of thing. And you've got to capitalize on those moments. And I think that makes wrestling look better and more engaging when somebody picks up on it like that. So I really did like the way that Cole picked up on that spot and worked with Nicole Matthews in this. Two of them doing a great job, and I thought this is definitely going to be a Nicole Matthews win, and how wrong I was in the end, Papa Smokes, because surprisingly, Cole Rivera gets the big win after a Shining Wizard and a pinfall victory on Nicole Matthews. This was a solid matchup. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I was also surprised by the outcome of this one too, because although the commentators, who did a pretty good job in this, I thought, by the way, but we're kind of pumping Cole Rivera as an up-and-coming young guy, as not exactly a rookie, maybe not his first year, but still much the less experienced wrestler than Nicole Matthews. We've seen her around the Canadian scene for many years now. She knows what the hell she's doing in the ring, for sure. But this kind of, I liked this match too. You kind of brought up like the realistic looking struggle between the two. I agree with that completely. And I think it's kind of looked like one of those matches. We've all seen them occasionally throughout our wrestling watching, that it looked like the veteran wanting to punish a rookie wrestler, wanting to stretch him, show him the ropes, bring him down to earth, maybe, and show maybe a cocky young rookie. You're not what you think you are. Any of us can probably stretch you in the ring. And that's what this looked like, too. Matthews had no mercy on Nicole Rivera. She's a great scientific wrestler. And in fact, Rivera, not too bad either. They wrestled for quite a lot of the first few minutes of this match, trading hold for hold, reversals, all the rest of that kind of stuff. But Matthews, the superior wrestler, she's getting them, she's grappling better and using better holds. Nicole Matthews also using kicks. Ooh, some of those to the chest were really looking painful. I would not have wanted to be Cole Rivera in this match because he took a working in this. He eventually took over for a little while through heel tactics, kicking at the knees, choking Nicole Matthews on the ropes, all that kind of stuff. But then strings of submission holds from Nicole Matthews, and it looked like somebody being tortured for a little while there. And then, surprise, surprise, they threw a little curveball at the end there. Cole Rivera hits a running, shining wizard kick out of the corner and just catches Matthews off guard. 1, 2, 3, it's a pinfall, and the rookie beats the veteran. So I don't know. I like the way this was done, actually. Just calling up again what you said before. It looked like a real struggle at moments of this match. It had a nice suspension of disbelief in it, too, that you thought Nicole Matthews is going to completely dominate this rookie and put him to bed early in this match. But obviously they want to give Cole Rivera the rub, so he comes out with a surprise kick, a near knockout kind of thing, and he gets the pinfall. So obviously NEW seeing something in Cole Rivera and giving him a big win over an established veteran in NEW.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw it on display too. And didn't one of the commentary guys also mention that he had said that he would give Rivera $100 if he actually could beat Nicole Matthews, and then played it off so perfectly on commentary that it's just like, well, we all know that's not going to happen, so I don't have to worry about coughing up $100. And then all of a sudden, bang, and Cole gets the big upset victory that you're not expecting. He's like, well, shit, he's out $100 now all of a sudden, right, on the unexpected. But very well done, yeah. Very great. And I honestly, this match should have been higher up the card for me.
It could have been, but it was also $20 that the commentator offered. So I mean, not really putting the stakes on there huge. I don't know what $20 is supposed to do. You could barely buy a quart of milk for $20 in Canada these days. You might be able to cover the bottom of your gas tank with $20, but at any rate, Cole Rivera going over big time. And I'm sure the fans going away with the thought, wow, this kid can beat a veteran like Nicole Matthews. What's next for him?
Yeah. Well, I don't think anyone's going to bet against him next time around, that's for sure. Up next on this card, we have got Artemis Spencer in one-on-one action taking on Dante Santos. Man, does this feel like a prelim match, Papa Smokes? Like, it didn't really do a whole lot. It dragged for the short period of time that it was, and then suddenly we get a run-in from a masked man in this one who attacks Santos while the ref is checking on Artemis Spencer, who's faking a knee problem. Like, I know this was to put over Artemis Spencer and his return to NEW right now, but this felt like almost like this should have gone on before our previous matchup at the very least. If you're going to do this, it felt very prelim, and I don't have a problem with either one of the guys in the ring. It's nothing to them. There just wasn't really a whole lot to talk about here. This wasn't much of a match. It was very one-sided, and then it just ended like it did. And again, it's going to be a theme here, like this and the main event too, with that just a whole lot going on that really just didn't do it for me. This one didn't. I try to put a positive spin on as much as I can here, but I could have done without this match, to be honest with you, Pop Smokes.
Yeah, I guess I agree with that. Obviously, they wanted Spencer to go over big time. It's his return and everything. Nothing wrong with Dante Santos coming out with Henry Reed. he looked all right and everything, but yeah, this did look like a preliminary match. It looked like a TV squash match almost. It wasn't very long. Spencer beat down Santos constantly. Um, there was a couple of hope spots for Santos, but he really never got anything going, never strung together any series of offense whatsoever. So now a masked man enters the ring, and who does he attack? Santos, the guy that's already getting his ass completely kicked in the
Yeah.
match. Why did there have to be a masked man? This didn't change the momentum of the match. It didn't change who was going to win it. It didn't really do anything. So I'm not sure. We're kind of dropping in on NEW out of the blue here. Maybe there's something we're missing here, but kind of seemed a little bit weird to me. But and then the masked man hits some kind of finishing move on Santos. Spencer goes for the cover, and it's a 2 count. That didn't even finish the match after all the punishment that Santos had taken. So eventually, Spencer chokes out Santos, gets a submission, and the crowd boos the hated heel Artemis Spencer. Yeah, just no real surprises. Nothing as reviewers for us to really sink our teeth into, but just kind of a push, I guess. But it didn't really make Artemis Spencer look all that much better. It didn't really cement him as a heel. It didn't really put him over as a devastating top wrestler because he had a masked man come in from the crowd and cheat for him, and that didn't even get him the win. So I'm mildly confused by this match, but it was a match that happened, and here we are talking about it.
Yeah, and I mean, because like I've seen enough of Artemis Spencer to know that like his credibility should be enough on his own, and the fact that,
Yeah,
like you said, he was controlling most of the matchup throughout this thing.
yeah.
So there's no legitimacy behind, like, again, like you said, maybe we're missing something, and if we are, I apologize, but it didn't come across that way. There was nothing really to tell me the story to understand why it is. So I was just left going, okay, like why? And maybe it'll go somewhere. We'll have to see when we watch more down the road. But for me, I could have done without that one on this one tonight. Um, Up next, we again, this is going to be tough because notoriously, Pop Smokes and I not big fans of triple threats and fatal four ways here. They don't play too well for us, and we get back to back fatal four way matchups. And here's where again, like the positioning on the card, where I could have used. Like, again, you could have had Nicole Matthews' match be between these two fatal four ways to break up the fatal four ways a little bit, because I feel like one after another takes away from what one does and then the next tries to do. And even if the next one does it better than the first one does it, it takes that moment away. It doesn't make it quite as special. The fans liked these things, but we got next. It's the Intercity Championship. Eddy Ross, Dave Rishi, Casey Ferreira, and Evan Rivers. There's individually things to like about all four of these guys in this matchup, especially Dirty Eddy Ross has got quite a good heel thing going for himself as well too. It's all I really wrote was that individually I'd like to see more from these guys, but there wasn't really a whole lot positive I can talk. This felt very cooperative, very what I've seen from every fatal four way that features guys of about this size and shape as well before too. Nothing to knock the individuals in the matchup, but did nothing to make me more intrigued in fatal four ways than I ever was before. So I got to say this one definitely didn't land. In the end, we do get a new Intercity champion, Dirty Eddy Ross, picking up the victory there. So I am curious to see more of where that story goes and where he goes as the new champion. There's my positive spin on it. Bob Spokes rolling it your way. What can you say about this one?
Well, sure, I'll go along with your positive spin on it. Eddy Ross was the one guy that kind of stood out to me in this match, but as it turns out, I'm not. There's not much I can say about this match either. It was fatal four ways and three ways aren't my favorite matches because it's just it drags on and somebody's lying outside the ring selling for over 5 minutes, and it's kind of unbelievable. It kind of just is not my favorite kind of wrestling match whatsoever. And this one was no different. A lot of four-way confusion going on, fast and furious right off the hop. All four guys fighting. I have it right here in my notes. 75 million moves being done at 100 miles an hour. These guys did every single move that each of them know in this match in quick succession. And I know a lot of fans like in-ring to be very fast and very technical, but this just it didn't turn my crank whatsoever because doing more moves and doing them more quickly is not the kind of ring work that I like to see. They at no point in this match did it ever slow down. And did any of the wrestlers work the crowd, work with the referee, and work with their opponents at a slower rate. This was just stringing together as many moves as you could possibly do. Every single move that each one of them knows was done in this move. It's also difficult for someone like me dropping in on this card. I don't know these wrestlers in this match. I'm not acquainted with them, their styles. I didn't know who was babyface and who was heel. Not that that always matters, but it was a confusing match. It was 1,000 miles an hour the entire time. People were doing their spots. The guys weren't selling and just going into other spots. Guys were taking huge moves and just turning around and doing another huge move on someone else. It lacked a psychology and it lacked a structure and a setup to the match that I would have liked to have seen a bit more of. But at any rate, Ferreira hits a frog splash, but Eddie Ross throws him out of the ring, steals the pin, and we got a new Intercity champion. So I hope if we cover this company in the future, and I have a feeling we might because we like to do Canadian content here sometimes, where I would like to see more of Eddie Ross. I think he looks good. The other guys I'm open to as well, but I'd like to see some one-on-one matches. We can actually get a chance to see these guys work.
Hell yeah. No, with you there, Bob Smokes. And of course, we go from one fatal four-way into another fatal four-way. It's the NEW Women's Championship on the line. It's Amira taking on Naomi King, taking on Jae-Lynn, taking on Big Ann. This one was, again, we talked about this prior to going live, better than the previous one as far as the fatal four-way goes. I still had my same struggles with it as a fatal four-way, although one of the highlights was the team-up going on in this one that I think made it separate a little bit more from the guys' version. They also had a pace that wasn't at 100 miles an hour like you spoke about previously in the other one, and that's not a detriment. It actually slowed down for the purpose of more psychology that was involved in this one as well too. I wasn't really familiar with any of the ladies. I think we've we maybe reviewed an Amira matchup previously once before, but again, not fresh enough in my memory that I was very familiar with any of these ladies. But again, a situation comes about, I'd like to see any of them in singles competition after this because they all did a great job in this matchup as much as you can with a fatal four-way. But unfortunately, again, it takes away from when you put them back-to-back, the same type of match back-to-back, one takes away from the other. So while the women would have done things a little bit better in their matchup, some of the stuff had already been done by the guys in the previous one, which takes away the off factor. So I think that there should have been more communication between the two about, okay, if we're going to do this back and forth pinning combination, then the other side doesn't do it. But likewise, if that happens, there has to be a trade-off where there's something separate for each matchup so that that can be done and it doesn't feel like you're watching the same with different people involved. That's the best way you can put it. This was definitely better than the men's version. So kudos to the ladies. Kudos to Ann retaining the title. The only person so far on this card who has retained the title, and definitely look forward to seeing more from her title run in the future.
Yeah, that's well put, Munson. I did like this one, this fatal four-way, quite a lot more than the previous one because it had a little bit of meat to it. And that was, as you mentioned, the relationship between Big Ann and Jae-Lynn Hill, who you kind of got the feeling that these two were going to team up and work off of each other throughout this match. That possibly Jae-Lynn Hill protecting Anne and protecting her championship. But then you never know in a fatal four-way, right? Tides can change very quickly in one of those. So can Big Anna Beretta, can she trust Jae-Lynn Hill? That was kind of the little story going on throughout the match. Nothing too much to say about this one. It was less chaotic than the last one. The lady wrestlers went a little bit slower, and I like that because you got some build-up of tension in some parts in this match. Jae-Lynn looked like she had the match won at one point, but she ended up remaining loyal to Big N. So that answered the question for that time being. I like Amira. We have covered one of her matches before. She's big and strong. She works well in the ring. She's got a charisma that connects with the fans. I think she's quite good. But the real standout wrestler in this match for me was Big Ann. I like her. She looks like a pro. She looks like a champion. She comes in with a heel charisma and all that. She's got the confidence and everything. Her presentation is excellent, and she was the one that kept this match on track. She went slower. She looked like she was directing things for a couple of the other wrestlers in this match, and I was impressed by her. I'd be interested to see more of her work. Eventually, Big Ann hits a modified widow's peak, kind of a finishing maneuver. Then an inverted pedigree, which I think she calls the overkill. Very good name for a finisher, by the way. Gets the pinfall, retains the championship, and now she's got three challengers beneath her in this division. So what's up next? They've got to build up another top challenger for Big N, and we'll see where that goes in the future.
100%, yeah. And there's always going to be outsiders wanting in, taking cracks at whoever the champions are. And would Big Ann be the only one to retain her championship on this card? Well, let's find out, because we have one more to talk about, and that is the main event of the evening. This match is scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
And it is for the NEW Championship, and it is contested in a dog collar matchup. Miles Deville up against Ricky South. Ricky South, who's been tearing it up as the champion since winning the belt and being in NEW. First of all, big gripe with that 100-foot-long dog collar that they decided. That chain was so atrociously long. And I mean, we know the reasons why. It's because you want to be able to do specific moves. You don't want to get caught up. But to me, a dog collar match, folks, has got to be in close proximity. It's got to be in close proximity because the meaning behind a dog collar match was always two guys that you needed to keep in close proximity, because especially if you had one guy being a chicken shit heel or something, that constantly slicking their way away, getting away from the baby face all the time. And now it's the baby face's time. I've got him right where I want him. He can't run. He can't hide. No matter what, he has to fight me one-on-one. And so when they see a dog collar chain that is that long, and I'm like, man, that's a bit much. But that aside, I mean, these two guys are great at what they do. Ricky South, I have been interested in his work quite a bit when I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like him a whole bunch. So, yeah, he's had a great run as champion as far as I can tell. We had more ref bumps in this. We've had ref bumps through the night, more ref bumps in this matchup as well, too. It's a dog collar matchup. I really don't see that the ref bump adds anything to it, because isn't essentially this also non-disqualification when it's a dog collar matchup? So I don't think the referee bumping really adds or takes away anything. But, then a new ref comes out, and then Ricky South doesn't like that ref, so he throws down a damn pile driver on that referee, which, I mean, I did chuckle a little bit at that. Ricky South just going apeshit on the new referee involved. Reminds me of good old Shiki when he was champion of PPW there, taking every official out all the time. In the end, though, Miles Deville getting the pinfall victory and becoming the only ever two-time NEW champion in history. So now he is also the new champion, but also the only person who's ever held that title twice in their history. So a history-making matchup in the end between these two individuals. It was good, not great. That's the best I can say about it. Both participants are good. I don't think the dog collar portion added to the matchup in the way that it should have added to the matchup. That was my gripe with it. But other than that, the two guys are great professionals. New champion. Interested to see where they go with Miles Deville as the champion moving forward. And let's see more Ricky South, because I do like his work as well too.
Yeah, I also like Ricky South. He's got a good build. He's a tall guy. He's a good heel. And then Miles Deville got some applauding from the crowd when he came out. He's known as the ace of NEW. First thing I also noticed was how long that chain was. And, you're going into a dog collar match kind of with the assumption that, again, we're dropping in on this card. We haven't been watching the cards before this. We haven't seen any of the matches leading up to this. But I'm assuming that these two have been in some hellacious brawls already. I'm assuming that they hate each other so bad that you're going to pick basically the ultimate stipulation match, aside from maybe a cage match, which might be the ultimate grudge match, but a dog collar match makes things very, very personal. Like you said, treating them like animals, two guys with collars around their necks, and then they're connected by the chain with the idea that I want you close to me so that you can't get away because I'm going to beat you. Not only just beat you with a pinfall, I'm going to assault you and finish this feud. And I'm going to try and put you on the shelf, put you out of our wrestling league indefinitely if possible, but at least for some length of time. And as soon as I saw this long chain, I thought, oh God, they're just going to do so many aerial spots and so many spots. And yes, that's exactly what happened. Early in the match, South gets thrown outside the ring. And he wasn't just on the ringside area, he was back probably level with the second row of seats in the aisle. And Deville was in the ring, ran and bounced on the far side of the ropes, and then did a tope suicida through the ropes to that second row. That's like a hint of how long that chain is. It must have been 25 feet long. Okay, I think it's kind of defeats the idea of a dog collar match where you want your opponent close. You don't want them to get away. Plus, it gets tangled. It gets wrapped around ring posts and ropes and all kinds of things. They did pretty well with it in this match, but I still thought, wow, yeah, they're just going to do all their springboard and moonsault moves and tope suicidas with this long chain. And they did. So eventually they started using the chain quite a lot, choking, wrapping it around the fist, hitting it. There was a hanging on the ropes spot at one point, and then the ref bump, which, again, within a no disqualification match, who really cares? But Deville put a chain-assisted crossface on South. South's tapping out like a madman, but there's no referee to see it. The new ref comes in shortly to get a pile driver after that. The vicious crowd chanting after the ref gets pile driven. One more time. One more time. Kind of reminds me of the PPW crowd in Saskatoon here a little bit. It would be down with such a chant as well. Yep. There were some false finishes in this match, quite a few of them, and some very, very close kickouts. I always feel bad for the refs in those because when they're that close, it's really, 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 really close to like being unbelievable in that. But the guys pulled it off and everything. Did you recognize that second referee, Munson? That he's always posting his workout videos on there and that sort of thing. But eventually, South gives Deville a big lariat off the top rope, then hits a pile driver, That one gets a 1 count. I mean, that easily could have been the finish to the match. That lariat off the top rope was huge. Then a quick pile driver and a quick cover. I thought, well, there's the finish right there. Nope, that one gets a 1 count. You could see the crowd somewhat confused by that. But Miles Deville hits a turning vertical suplex, gets a clean pinfall without the chain being involved or anything in the finish. And we got a new champion. Neither wrestler with any blood or anything in a dog collar match. Kind of a bit puzzling to me if this is the blow off of the finishing of a feud and no one gets their forehead bloody. Okay, a little bit weird to me. What's the point of a dog collar match if they don't have the old classic crimson mask? But at any rate, a wrestling move ends this match, and we got a new champion in Miles Deville, and the crowd seemed to be somewhat into it. So we'll see how this goes. Ricky South, or the Example as he's known as, unseated as NEW heavyweight champion. We got a new champion with Miles Deville, and we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, again, not my favorite card I've ever watched, but again, I know NEW's on to things. I know that they've had other great cards. I know they've had a lot of great wrestling matches. So I'm not ready to give up on them. I'm going to want to watch more. And the highs were really high for me. Like when it's good, it's great kind of thing. When it's low, I mean, it happens. It's wrestling. You take it, you move on, and you watch the next one. And, you know, there'll be, again, they're trying to appease everybody. I'm not everybody. There's going to be stuff I like, stuff you like, stuff other people like. That's what they're going for. I can see that value, and they definitely hold value as a Canadian company that we'll continue to cover here on Ring Respect Radio, for sure. Final thoughts before we say our goodbyes, Papa Smokes.
Well, I was just remembering from the previous times we covered NEW, the standout wrestler to me in those previous cards that we covered was Gigi Ray. Remember that? She's talent that we watch with WPW, Winnipeg Pro Wrestling now. She's excellent, and I really think she's good. And she was the standout in those previous cards we watched. Not on this particular one, but she's a West Coast Canadian, I do believe. And that's what I remember from these ones. But at any rate, this card was pretty good. I have nothing terribly bad to say about it. It wasn't completely my cup of tea. Some of those fatal four-ways. I was a little confused by the dog collar match, but still, they're doing good work out there in Vancouver with NEW Wrestling. I like their venue. Their audience is fully invested in this. They were loud and raucous, so clearly something's going right for these guys. I'm interested to watch more. I think they've got better in them, so let's try this company again.
Yeah, definitely. We will cover more of their work, just like we'll continue to cover other Canadian pro wrestling companies that we enjoy here on the channel. And, of course, other great things coming up very shortly. More trip through the territories. We said we're going to be bringing trivia back here in August. So a lot of things to look forward to here on the show. But in the meantime and in between time, as we get to the top of the hour, the most beautiful ticker on the world is up on the screen. And Papa Smokes is going to tell you where you can find them and what's up next.
All right, everybody. Each week on Thursday evenings, I am on Ring Respect Radio. That is the podcast that you're watching right now. It is hosted by OLE Podcasts and the Video Bros Network. Outside of that, I can be found at Elon Musk's Free Speech Wonderland, known as X. I am at Smokes_Papa. And on Twitch, allegedly at least, at Papa_Smokes_.
There you go. That's where you can find Big Papa Smokes. As for myself, Bobby Munson, down below, that ticker will take you to my social media, where you can find me next here on the channel tomorrow night. I have a pre-recorded review of the movie The Odyssey coming out with Ed Fries. Find out what we think, whether it's a masterpiece or overhyped. We'll tell you all about it in our hour-long review right here on the channel. 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Point of View, talking about the week in sports with Andre C. this coming Sunday. You can go back and check out my review of the movie Send Help that I did with Astro Pizarro that came out on the channel this week as well, too. And, of course, you catch myself and Papa Smoke calling all the action from Prairie Pro Wrestling every Saturday afternoon at the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. You find great shows just like this one here on OLE Podcast. Check us out on all social media and, of course, YouTube and Twitch, where you can like, follow, subscribe, give us hype points, do all the things that help get Ring Respect Radio noticed and have more people active in that chat following us every Thursday night. For all of you that were here tonight and all you watching on replay, we thank you for being part of Ring Respect Radio each and every week, and we look forward to seeing you in 1 week's time. Take care, everybody.